story about the grandpa. Let me start again. The story about his grandpa is pretty interesting because, not that Ron doesn't have healthy adult relationships. He probably has more than most people I know. But, there's this quiet soulfulness about him that I could see that, like, just wanting to sort of be with the kids who understood him without speaking, or maybe speaking in sort of the way adults speak. Now I'm making Ron sound like a retard.
Happy birthday, retard.
But Ron is it's not like, though, that this, you married him, but there's something stealth about him, very sort of the embodiment of still waters run deep.
Totally.
He's a very quiet guy until you know him. And in some cases, I remember thinking, maybe Ron's retarded. No, I didn't think that. But he just doesn't talk much until you get to know him. And he does that thing where he just sort of like looks at you and laughs without making any sound. It really makes me wonder if he knows what I'm saying. But he knows. He knows.
He totally knows.
Ron's one of the smartest guys I knew. And here's this. I remember when he moved to San Francisco, I would say within 6 weeks of arriving there, and I'd lived there for years, he knew more about the city than I did. He's like, have you been to Jacko's? I'm like, I don't know where that is. Never heard of it. And it was a little embarrassing. And Carol felt the same thing. It's like, Ron is like, shit. The guy knows all. He's like the Delphic Oracle or something.
He dives in.
He does. It's true. And but it has another thing. It's related to something about Ron, is that he's like the most unpretentious guy I know. Maybe he is pretentious in private. I don't know.
No, he's not.
No, I don't think so. But, he's just like the guy you'd lend your car, the guy you'd help move, the guy, you'd take to the airport. Because he's just like a solid guy with no pretense. He's funny as shit.
I know. I know.
He's a funny motherfucker. You can believe that.
No, I want to keep it.
He laughs at my jokes. I don't know. But also, there's just that soulfulness. And he's got it, man. He's got soul he hasn't used yet. That guy. Ron sometimes would put me to shame, too. With like, I remember there was a year or two that we were driving down to, I forget where, it was down at one of the jobs, in Diva or something like that. Yeah, it was the job we worked together. And, man, that guy's a music fiend. Holy shit.
Yeah.
I know.
And
I'm going to ramble a little bit, but it's sort of all tied together. Ron, I think, was the first person who played Lucinda Williams for me. And I was like, oh my God, boy, this is great.
Yep.
And it was just fantastic. And, some of the most, still like some of the best roots music I've ever heard. And then I remember, I think it was like shortly after you guys started dating, maybe in the first couple of years, we went to see her at the Warfield. Remember
yes.
This? Right. That was really fun.
I was just thinking about that when you said that.
Yeah, it's fantastic. But, and I will let this fly now, hoping that like his male friends hear him, because this is bad. In the midst of the show, which was so great, I think it was her encore or something, so that the audience was at like fever pitch, whatever. And we're there, and everybody's sort of dancing. Ron's doing that dance where he sort of makes fists and, holds him near his chin and that kind of thing. And she was singing Passionate Kisses, which is a great song musically, but for a guy to be singing the words at the chorus, the he did was a little.
Off-putting?
I have locked that away in the dark recesses of my mind, and only now am I thinking about it. But that was harsh. I look over and there's Ron going, passionate kisses. Oh, Ron. It's like that kid who meets the guy who threw the World Series. You know, say it ain't so, buddy. And I like her. I mean, I love Lucinda Williams, and I even like that song, but man, that is like, that's the musical equivalent of like Enchanted April or something. Room with a View.
I love that story.
Oof.
I love that story.
So that's his, you know, he contains his opposite.
Mm-hmm.
Like all, you know, like all great men do, I guess. I never even hummed that song to myself in a car.
See?
Never.
Right.
But maybe that's the unpretentiousness coming into play. Is Ron just, you don't give a fuck.
I love it. Oh my God, I love it.
Yeah.
You know, when I was in Phnom Penh, Cambodia, I was in a restaurant and I was alone and I was feeling very, you know, detached from everything I knew, and it just ordered probably some spring rolls or something like that, and that car, and Car Wheels on a Gravel Road.
Yeah, right.
It came on in the restaurant, and I was so blown away. I was like, it brought me right to him in that moment.
Yeah, totally.
You know, and
I associate with that, you know, with a bunch of music. Like I remember being at. I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
No, I'm finished.
Okay. I remember like just being at Jazz Fest with him. You know, I was with him for about, I don't know, a good 3 days straight, and it was just heaven for a music person.
Yeah.
And that dude was just like in his heaven.
It's religious for him.
Yeah, it totally is. And it was pissing rain the entire time we were there. But it was just so insane. And I think it was with him where it was raining so hard that we stepped into like the gospel tent. And it was so ripping. And I got to try to remember what the hell they were playing. But it was like a gospel choir doing some disco tune that was, or like pre-disco tune that was so great. I can't remember what it was. But anyway, but it was just like this look, you know, we're like soaking wet, covered in mud. And it's like, But, so you know, I associate that shit, that sort of like, yeah, like the religious aspect of music with Ron, for sure. Definitely. I think actually, he may deny this, but I'm pretty sure that I told him John Lennon died. I'm pretty sure. No, seriously. Like we were at high school for freshmen. And we were coming down, like before school started, you could like hang out in the cafeteria, and you had to go downstairs. And I remember he was coming down the stairs, you know, and I knew he was a huge Beatle fan. But the reason I know this, Ron was the first person I ever got drunk with. And I think we talked about the Beatles. But I remember that look on his face, like, I'm pretty sure, because I know the next day he brought into school a copy of Magical Mystery Tour, because we were looking for clues about John's death.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty sure. And that was actually something that like connected me to Ron, like indelibly.
Yeah.
You know, like, 14-year-old Beatle freak.
Well, yeah, and there he is, 14 years old. The very next day, he's still like trying to reason it and dissect it.
Oh yeah, it was like he was just in shock. Yeah. I could be wrong too, but I think, well, maybe I'm thinking about myself. But there was like 4 sort of iconic photos of the Beatles that came with the White Album, you know, like suitable for framing. I'm pretty sure he had this in his room. Could be wrong.
Dan?
Yeah.
Will you say who you are and wish Ron a happy birthday?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is Dan Weir from San Francisco by way of Tahoe. Let me start again. That's really dumb.
No, I loved it.
Okay. You can keep that bit in there too. Hey, this is Dan Weir. You're listening to WIFI. No, that's terrible. This is, hey Ron, it's Dan Weir, Sweet Pea's brother. And I'm just here to wish you a happy birthday, brother. Love you. Look forward to the next 50. Adios, buddy.